Here's something a little bit different you may not have seen before. This is an AGM 3705. This is a Coleman or kerosene fired lantern. It's got this funny little pump. The pump is also the gas cap. So if we take the pump out of the way, you see it shoots air directly down the filler hole. The pump in this case doesn't have a proper check valve in it like a Coleman does. It's really got a non-return valve. Because this is a non-return valve and not a proper check valve, I don't like to burn Coleman fuel in this, because if Coleman fuel should sneak past the non-return valve into the pump and then get fumes or something up into here, we could have a big fireball, and that would be very unsafe. You can hear the non-return valve actuate. It's a plunger on a spring, and when you push air down through it, moves the plunger away, and then the spring pushes the plunger back up, and you can hear it when you pump. Pump in this is fairly terrible, and the spring is quite strong. It has pretty much the same problem that the Wenzel has, although it's a smaller fount, so it's not such a big deal. It doesn't take a lot of pressure to light this. Another interesting thing, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it real well, is that the valve is canted. It's tilted down, which provides an opening for the air to get in. Terry March says this is 8 degrees. I don't know if that's really true or not, but it sure looks like it. The pricker rod on this actually has a little worm gear thing inside there, so it doesn't rotate 360 degrees. It rotates back and stops. So that's kind of interesting too. Again, since we're burning kerosene here, we're going to preheat with alcohol. The preheat bottle on this lantern is very, very small. The preheat cup on this lantern is very, very small. It's easy to overflow it. Overflowing it is really not that big a deal. You just get white streaks from the alcohol. The nice thing about this preheat cup, it's actually a little bit easier to light than some of them. The trick to getting the alcohol to light is to sort of lean the match on the preheat cup. And when the alcohol gets warm, it lights. When it's real cold, especially because it's real cold out here now, it can be really hard to light. This is not the correct globe for this lantern, and in fact it hits on the air tube up here. This lantern should have a mica chimney, is actually what it would be called. It's not really a globe at all. I'm probably going to have one made at some point. Maybe I'll make a 3705 revisited video when I do. This will probably light by itself because I've had this lit relatively recently. We can see kerosene vapors showing up now as the generator starts to heat. I don't actually know what this generator is supposed to have in it. When I got it, this lantern was a little bit of a disaster. I rebuilt the generator, which really means I cleaned it out and put a spring in it. The spring is the inner spring from a 237 generator, and it seems to work pretty well. The mantle in this case is a Coleman number 21. It looks really small in there. I think a number 99 would work and probably would put out more light. Project for another video, I think. Okay, about out of alcohol. Trick with this lantern in particular is to crank the valve right open. I never had any luck lighting this one on Coleman fuel because the fuel air type system on an AGM is different than it is on a Coleman. There's no fuel air tube as such, and I've never been able to get this one to just use put out vapors. Give it a little more air. A lot of the AGM lanterns have trouble with stress cracking in the founts. The 3705 is a steel fount. You don't have to worry about that. It's the earlier brass founts that are the problems.